Good evening everyone. Welcome to Excellence. Today UPSC has successfully conducted a Civil Services Preliminary Examination 2024. So we will try to review the exam of this year prelims, as well as we will try to analyze what will be the cutoff for 2024. So when it comes to the prelims cutoff, it has been declining for the past few years. If we compare from 2017, it was 105 and last year it was at 75. So why the cutoff was 75 last year? The two major reasons is, first, the GS paper. For the first time they have introduced a pattern of questions where instead of asking 1, 2 correct or 1, 3, 4 correct or 1, 2, 3 correct, they have introduced for the first time only 1, only 2 and only 3 type of questions. In these type of questions, elimination is very difficult. So therefore, students got panicked, as well as the paper seemed very difficult because of those type of questions. And also the CSAT paper, last year it was at difficulty level. So why it was difficult? Instead of asking questions from logical reasoning, last year majority of the questions from number theory. Majority of the questions were from number theory. So because of these questions, this paper was very difficult, especially for students who belong to social sciences as well as arts background. So because of the difficulty level of GS as well as CSAT, the cutoff for last year was at 75. Many students who scored more than 100 last year in GS, they couldn't clear the cutoff for CSAT, that is 67. Majority of them ended with 50 to 65 marks range in CSAT. So that is also one of the reasons why the cutoff was at 75. But we will try to understand how the paper was this year, both GS as well as CSAT. If you see, first we will try to understand the GS. So when it comes to GS paper this year, there were around 18 questions from polity. Last year there were 14 questions, out of that 1 or 2 were difficult. This year out of 18 questions, 1 or 2 might be difficult, but for a student who has decently prepared, who has covered all the basics of polity, attempting these questions are very easy. As well as when it comes to geography, last year there were 9 questions from geography and all of them are at moderate level. But if you see, this year there were more questions from geography and many of them are on easier side. Also, the questions that they asked from science and tech, that can be addressed easily if we are following newspaper and other monthly current affairs compilations. So the science and tech is also said to be from easy to moderate level. As well as this current affairs, they have asked 14 questions from current affairs. Last year they have given the weightage of 24 questions from current affairs, but this year there are only 14 questions. So, and many of these questions are also on easier side. So if you have prepared newspaper and other current affairs compilations, addressing these questions are also easy. And when it comes to history, the weightage of history has declined from 13 to 8 questions. And out of these 8 questions, 5 they have asked from ancient, 2 from modern and 1 from medieval history. And out of these 8 questions, 4 to 5 questions are difficult, rest of them can be answered. And when it comes to government schemes, they have asked 4 questions and out of that 2 can be attempted easily. Economy might be difficult this year in comparison to last year, as well as the environment part. They have reduced the weightage of environment, and now this year if we compare with last year, there are 14 questions and many of them are at moderate level. And also in this year paper, the number of questions with single statement are around 27 to 30. 27 to 30. That way student will get more time to answer the paper. So if there are multiple statements in a question, it will take more time, because they have increased the number of questions with single statement this year. So people will get more time to use their elimination techniques in other questions, as well as the number of questions with only 1, only 2 are relatively in less number in comparison to last year. So therefore, overall, if you analyze, if you compare this year paper with last year paper, this year paper is on easier side. And when it comes to CSAT, this year CSAT paper is on easier side. If you compare with last year question paper. So because of these two factors, that the GS paper, it is on easier side, as well as the CSAT paper, it is on easier side. So therefore the cutoff is expected to rise. It is expected to rise this year in comparison to last year. So what can be the cutoff? What can be the cutoff? So we'll try to analyze this year paper. Out of this 100 questions, 40 questions are on easier side and 35 questions are on moderate side and around 25 questions they are at difficult level. Let's say moderate to difficult. So for a student who has prepared decently, he can have 85 to 90% accuracy in these easier questions. So that means he will end up with 32 to 33 questions as correct. And out of this 35 moderate questions, he can answer somewhere around 20 to 25 questions as correct. And out of this 25 difficult questions, he might get 5 questions correct. So if you see, overall, a student who has prepared well, he can get 62 to 65 questions as correct, somewhere around 60 to 65. And even after removing the negatives, he will end up with 50 questions. He will end up with 50 questions net. That means he can score around 100. So for a student who has prepared well, there are chances to score more than 100 this year. This was not very easy last year, but this year if we compare the GS paper, scoring 100 plus is relatively easier this year. So therefore the cutoff is expected to rise, and we think the cutoff might increase. The cutoff might increase by around 15 to 20 marks. So what was the cutoff last year? Last year the cutoff is 75 for general category. It is 75 for general category. So let's say if the cutoff is increasing by 15 to 20, that means it can be somewhere around 90 to 95 marks. It can be somewhere around 90 to 95. So depending on the performance of CSAT, depending on the performance in CSAT, the cutoff might increase or it might decrease a bit. So if many people are feeling that this year's CSAT paper is very easy, then the cutoff might further increase by 2 or 3 marks. And if many of them feel that the paper is still difficult, then the cutoff might be 85 to 90. So what we expect is this year the cutoff will be between 90 to 95 marks. By taking the opinion of different students who have attempted CSAT, they feel that even students from social sciences background, they have attempted 50 plus questions in CSAT. So even with 75 to 80% accuracy in CSAT, if you are attempting 50 plus questions, you will clear the CSAT paper. So therefore, we feel that people who have scored more than 90 can be positive about the result in the prelims examination, and who has scored 95 plus, they will surely clear the prelims examination. So students who are scoring more than 95 marks should start their preparation as soon as possible. So we at Laex this year we are going to start an innovative program called as Mains Hackathon, wherein we are trying to take around 150 to 200 students who are going to write mains, and so that they can use their time effectively, the time between the prelims examination and the result for the prelims. These 15 to 20 days should be used very effectively, and we are trying to give that push for your preparation, wherein we will be having a rapid revision program wherein we will try to cover all the GS papers in the next 15 to 20 days. For further details, please contact Laex at Ashok Nagar. Thank you.